It is the summer of 1729 in Paris, and an astronomer is leaning over a houseplant, completely puzzled.
The plant is a mimosa. Every morning its leaves open to the light. Every evening they fold shut. Nothing odd about that. It follows the sun, the way plants do.
But he wants to be sure, so he does something simple. He takes the plant and shuts it in a cupboard, in total darkness, where no sunrise can ever reach it.
If the leaves only move because of the sun, then locked in the dark, they should just stay shut. He waits a full day. Then he opens the door to check. The leaves are open. In pitch darkness, at the exact hour of morning, the plant has spread its leaves as if the sun were up. He shuts the door. Hours later, evening, they have folded again.
Nobody told the plant it was morning. No light, no warmth, no cue at all. And yet, sealed in the dark, it was still keeping time. Something inside it was counting the hours on its own.
That plant was hiding the same thing you are hiding right now. A clock you never wound, running inside your body, quietly deciding the best and the worst hours of your entire day.
Now, if you are a little skeptical of a plant in a cupboard, good, because there was an obvious hole in that first experiment, and it took almost 200 years to properly close it. Maybe the plant felt tiny changes the man could not. A little warmth leaking in at midday, a faint draft, some hidden signal still whispering the time. To really prove there was a clock inside, you would need to seal a living thing away from every hint of time. No sun, no temperature swing, no schedule, and then see if the rhythm still held. For that, scientists eventually stopped using plants. They used people, and they took them deep underground.
In 1938, a sleep scientist named Nathaniel Kleitman took a young assistant down into Mammoth Cave, one of the deepest, darkest places in America.
More than 100 feet down, the world never changed. There was no daylight and no nightfall, and the temperature sat still around the clock. It was the perfect place to hide from the sun. And they tried something bold. They attempted to force their bodies onto a 28-hour day, 6 long days stretched across a normal week. The young assistant's body slowly gave in and stretched to the longer day, but Kleitman, the older man, could not do it. Deep in the cave, his body clung to its own rhythm, close to 24 hours, no matter what schedule he forced onto it. That was the first solid proof in humans. The clock is wired deep into the body. You can't just simply decide your way onto a new schedule and expect your biology to go along with it. Some part of us keeps time on its own, whether we cooperate or not. One man took this much further and did it completely alone. In 1962, a young French geologist named Michel Siffre climbed down into a freezing cave to study a glacier. Then he had a wild idea. What if he simply stayed for months with no clock at all? The rules he set himself were strict. No watch, no calendar, no sunlight. He would eat when he felt hungry and sleep when he felt tired, and nothing on the outside would tell him the time. Every time he woke, he phoned his team up on the surface to log the moment. He had no idea what day they thought it was. He was living purely by the clock inside him. His body settled into a rhythm a little longer than a normal day, but remarkably steady. As far as he could tell, he was keeping time just fine. Then, after what his mind had counted as a certain number of days, his team told him to come up. The experiment was over. So he guessed the date. He thought it was around the 20th of August. It was already the middle of September. He had lost about 25 days. His body had kept near perfect daily time, and still, a whole month had quietly slipped past him in the dark. So if we each carry a clock, the obvious question is, where? Where do you even keep a clock in a body made of soft tissue and blood? The master clock sits in your brain, in a tiny knot of about 20,000 nerve cells, right above the spot where the nerves from your 2 eyes cross. And that address is the whole trick. This clock is wired straight to your eyes. Light is how it checks whether it's running fast or slow and nudges itself back in line with the real world each morning. In animals, when researchers damaged just that one tiny cluster, the daily rhythms fell apart. Sleep, activity, body temperature, all of it scattered into noise. Take out that small clock and the whole schedule collapses. Scientists gave it a suitably clunky name, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Easier to picture it as the conductor, standing at the front, keeping a whole orchestra in time. But the conductor in your head is not working alone. Almost every single cell in your body carries a clock of its own.
In 2017, 3 scientists won a Nobel Prize for working out how those tiny clocks actually run, and the mechanism is beautifully simple. Inside one cell, a special protein slowly builds up all through the night, gathering more and more hour by hour. When the pile gets high enough, it does something clever. It reaches back and switches off the very gene that makes it. Production stops and the pile slowly drains away across the day. Then, empty again, the gene flips back on and the whole cycle restarts. Build up all night, drain all day. One loop about 24 hours long. If that cell could talk, it would just be muttering a running count to itself. Getting full must be night, running low must be day. A single molecule keeping time in the dark, exactly like that plant in the cupboard. Now put all those clocks together and something useful shows up. Your body does not run at one flat level all day. It rides a wave, the same wave every single day. Early, before you have even opened your eyes, your body gives itself a jolt, a surge of the hormone cortisol, a built-in shot of get up and go, peaking in the first hour after you wake. Through the late morning, your core body temperature climbs and your alertness rises with it. For a lot of people, this is the sharpest the brain gets all day. Hard focus comes easiest here. Then, in the early afternoon, comes a dip, a real physical lull. We love to blame it on lunch, but it shows up even in people who skip lunch entirely. Your clock is simply dialing you down for a while. Later, your temperature and coordination climb to their true peak in the late afternoon and early evening. Reaction time, grip strength, physical performance, all quietly at their best around then. And once it gets dark, another hormone rises, melatonin, the body's messenger for nightfall. It travels out to every clock in you carrying a single quiet message. The day is done. Start winding down. That wave has one complication though. It doesn't sit at the same clock time for everyone. Where yours falls is partly written into your genes. Some people are wired to run early, sharp at dawn, fading by evening. Others run late, foggy all morning and genuinely at their best after dark. Larks and owls, and it is not laziness. Teenagers, for a few years, get pushed hard toward owl. The trouble is that most of us live by an alarm clock, not our body clock. We drag ourselves up in our lowest hours and then waste our peak sitting in a slow meeting. A quiet, permanent kind of jet lag, without ever leaving home. So the decoding is simpler than it sounds. For a week or two, just pay attention. When does focus come easily, with no coffee? Where does your afternoon always crash? And when do you finally feel wide awake at night? Then work with the wave instead of against it. Guard your sharp hours for the hard thinking. Park the dull, easy tasks in the dip. And one free move helps almost everyone. Get real daylight into your eyes early, because that is exactly how the clock behind your eyes sets itself straight. The exact hours are yours to find, and honestly, they shift with age and with the seasons, but the shape of the wave is real, and it is running whether you use it or not. Almost 300 years ago, a man shut a plant in a cupboard and found a clock ticking away in the dark. You are carrying the very same kind of clock right now. It set the best hour of your day before you even woke up, and it will set it again tomorrow. You do not get to switch it off. You only get to choose whether you live with it or fight it every single day.